Welcome back to Figma. In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to create a day and night animation using Smart Animate. So let's get started. First, click on New Design File and click onto the title of your project. Name it. So we're going to put your name there. Underscore day night animation. Once done, we're going to click onto the frame option and we're going to choose a social media Instagram post. So that will give us a square frame. Double click onto the name of the frame layer and we're going to rename it as frame 1. So this will help us identify the frames easier as we do our prototype animations. Next, we're going to make sure that we change the fill color to any fill color that you like. So for my first frame, this is going to be a day scene. So what I'm going to do is to create a light color for my sky. So I'm going to choose a light blue. Okay, then once I'm happy, I'm going to start to design other elements on my frame. So I'm going to create a little mountain scene where I have a sun, 2 mountains, and a riverbed. So I'm going to go over to my shape tool to start designing. I'm going to create my riverbed first. So draw a rectangle, stretch it out to the bottom part of my frame. Okay, just be careful, make sure that your rectangle is still contained within your frame. Okay, and then of course change the color to whatever color you desire. So for my riverbed, I'm just going to make it a different shade of blue, slightly darker blue. And on top of my riverbed, I'm going to create 2 mountains using the triangle polygon tool. Okay, so click on that, click and drag. I'm going to draw one big mountain first. Okay. If you find that it's resting on the water, you can always shift it behind so that it's hiding behind the waterbed. Alright, and then of course change the fill color to whatever color you desire. Okay, and once done, I'm going to create a smaller mountain. So I'm just going to copy and paste this and just reduce it, make it a bit smaller. And I'm going to make it a bit more interesting. So maybe change the second mountain to a slightly different shade of that same color. Okay, then once done, create a little sun. You can feel free to decorate and design your own day scene. Alright, so I'm going to just do a very simple one. And I'm going to change the color of my sun. Okay, so basically this sums up our day scene. Okay, these are the features and the elements I'm going to have in it. Now, we're going to create a night scene, but the change that we're going to see is the color changing, as well as the sun changing into a moon, a crescent moon, and we're going to see stars in the night sky. So if we want that to happen, you notice the stars are missing. So what we need to do is to have the stars already added to our day scene, but we're going to make them transparent or invisible. So I'm going to create my stars using the shape tool. Okay, just going to change to the same fill color as my sun. And I'm going to copy paste to make a few stars and randomly scatter them about the scene. Okay, but remember they will not appear in the day scene, so we will actually have to make them sort of invisible. Okay, so once done, I'm going to select all my star shapes, so hold shift as you select them. Okay, and under our design properties, we're going to look at this percentage level under fill and we're going to change it to 0. So that will make our stars invisible, but they are still there because you can still see the layers. Okay, they are only going to be visible in our second frame, which is our night scene. Now, this is the fun part. We're going to create our night scene now. So to do this, click onto your first frame layer and do a copy and paste. So Ctrl C, Ctrl V. You will see a second frame appear. Okay, I'm going to slide over so you can see it. You can also use the hand pen tool to move over. Okay, and we're going to modify frame 2 to be our night scene. So first things first, I'm going to select all my previous star layers on my second frame. And I'm going to change the fill to 100%. So now they are visible. And of course, I'm going to change the color of my frame 2 to the color of the night sky, which will be a much deeper and darker blue. Okay, and for my sun, I'm going to change it to a crescent moon. So without deleting this circle here, I'm just going to use my shapes tool to introduce another ellipse circle shape. And I'm going to just draw it at a corner such that I create a little crescent cutout from the previous shape. Okay, then select both. And what we're going to do is a compound shape subtract to get you that crescent shape. Next, don't forget to change the colors of our other elements on our scene. So for the mountains, what I'm going to do is just change them to a darker shade of their original color. Make sure you can still see them and they don't become entirely invisible. And so this will create the night scene. Alright, so we have a night scene in frame 2, we have a day scene in frame 1, and just to make sure all of your elements, the frames are still present in both frames. All the layers are present in both frames, they are the same. Okay, now we're going to go back to frame 1. So click onto frame 1 layer and click onto the prototype screen. Now we're going to introduce an interaction between frame 1 and frame 2. So hovering over frame 1, on the right side, look for this middle button that allows you to click and drag to draw an arrow to navigate it to frame 2. Once done, the interaction pop-up will appear, and from here you can change the details of your animation. So let's just do a check. Frame 1 on click will navigate to frame 2. Yep, that's what we want. And what animation do we want? We don't want an instant, but we want to do a smart animate. Okay, you can also feel free to change the animation effects, and you can also edit the timing to make it either faster or slower. So anything greater than 300 would be a little slower. Anything smaller than 300 milliseconds would be a little faster. Now once done, we're going to do the same for frame 2. We're going to create the animation from frame 2 back to frame 1, the same effects. So we're going to click onto the frame 2 layer. So make sure you click on that. I'm going to just slide over to frame 2. Go to prototype, hover over frame 2, look for this middle button at the side of the frame, and click and drag to draw an arrow to frame 1. Now we're going to modify the interaction for frame 2. So on click, check that it navigates back to frame 1. It does a smart animate, and of course you can feel free to choose whatever effect you want and whatever timing you want for your animation. Once you're happy with it, you can go back to frame 1 by clicking on it, and you can preview your animation by either clicking the play button on the top bar here or clicking the play button here. This will help you to open up your animation into a prototype screen where you can test it. So after waiting for it to load, you will see it open on your screen, and this is the current frame that you're on. Some of you might notice that the frame is very big, it fills your entire screen, so you can easily just hover over to see the prototype properties and change your options to view and fill the frame or fit your screen. Okay, then what will happen is that once you click onto your frame, you will see that on click it navigates to and from frame 1 to frame 2. Okay, so you have a day scene transit to a night scene, and a night scene transit to a day scene. So very beautiful smart animation here. Okay, so once you're happy with this and you wish to share your prototype animation, hover over to see the prototype bar, click onto the share button, share prototype, and just copy up the link to this and post it on your class notebook. Once done, you can close this prototype view and you can navigate back to your Figma dashboard files.